Hey everybody, this is Alzorath, and over the years we've actually covered hundreds of great games on the channel, and a handful of stinkers, but in the end there have been some amazing games. So today we take a look at 5 of my favorite games that really stuck with me for months, if not years, after beating them on the channel. It is worth noting that this list is in no particular order, and is just a small sampling of the games I have enjoyed from the years of doing YouTube. I'm also excluding Diablo 2 and Shadow Era because I feel we have enough of both of those on the channel as is, so it wouldn't really be fair to rank them in there. But anyway, let's jump on into the list. Number 5, Rogue Legacy. Rogue Legacy is one of the more well-known Metroidvania roguelites, and for good reason. With its polished art and music, intuitive controls, and well-designed meta progression, it set the bar high for many games that came after it. Most attractive feature of it for me was that it not only allowed regular progress and the challenge for new players by building up the castle, but was also designed in such a way that a veteran player could easily progress through the game effectively through skill alone, leading to both amazing casual playthroughs as well as interesting to watch speedruns. That's one of the main reasons why it stuck with me for so long, is because I not only played it, I enjoyed watching it. Main people I would recommend this title to are people who are big fans of Metroidvanias like Hollow Knight, Symphony of the Night, Time Spinner, etc., as it shares many of the same mechanics with tight boss design, high levels of replayability, and a nice balance of platforming and combat challenges. Number 4, Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. Staying on the Metroidvania theme, I can't ignore the short, albeit extremely satisfying experience we had with Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. While there are other Metroidvanias I have played off-camera that would give it a run for its money, Bloodstained is easily one of my favorites that we have played on-screen. With a nice diversity of weapons, skills, crafting options, enemies, etc., not to mention a handful of interesting puzzles to solve. Bloodstained was just a nice game to sit down and explore. It didn't overstay its welcome, and while it wears its predecessors on its sleeve, it does well at capturing the same spirit and enjoyment I got from the older Metroidvanias I was missing, without feeling like a mere copycat. It had tough competition in a few other games, but out of all the true, normal Metroidvanias, this is the one that really sticks with me the most. Number 3, Monster Sanctuary. While I had some rough points in Monster Sanctuary, mainly due to my personal stubbornness rather than necessarily the game itself, the unique mixture of Monster Collection and Metroidvania, with plenty of flexibility and detail in both aspects, made this game stick with me much longer than it would have otherwise if either one of these aspects had been simplified or dumbed down to fit the usual indie game mold of recent years. The real intriguing part for me, though, wasn't so much the Metroidvania aspects, which were fun, but rather the level of depth in Monster Collection that shames almost every other Monster Collector game out there. And it breaks the more simplistic mold held by games in that genre that usually just mimic Pokemon. The use of team dynamics, skill tree selections, equipment, even food buffs really made the battles feel as layered as some of the best party-based JRPGs of yesteryear, with a lot of options for each creature and a lot of options for how to win various battles. Monster Sanctuary is one of those games where if any of that above sounds interesting to you, then you will most likely love this game. I know I did, and I'm even considering doing a randomizer of it. I enjoyed it so much. Number 2, Oninaki. While it started off a bit rough and slow, by the end of Oninaki I was hooked on the gameplay. With fluid combat, interesting attacks and customization, unique movies showing off the histories of each of your demons, it started to really pull me in after I started experimenting with more of the characters and, well, listening to these side stories. While the playthrough itself didn't fare well on views, I don't regret playing this game in the least, and have kind of considered doing a second playthrough with the knowledge I've gained, which is fairly rare for me to consider. This list in particular does tend to favor that, though. The game really kind of gave me hope for Tokyo RPG Factory, which, though with financial reports and stuff like that, may not be long for this world, unfortunately, because Square Enix is definitely profit motivated and, well, they lost money last year. So I fear this may be like the last entry or second to last entry unless something changes over there, which is really sad because while I enjoyed all 3 entries they produced, albeit for different reasons, this one really stood out to me. They all just kind of felt like that RPG comfort food category to me. Yeah, they're no Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger, but they still have a nice RPG dive for whenever you want a good 20-ish hour dive of nostalgia rather than a 40-hour epic. I just kind of wish that there were more of these, and yes, I know this is controversial because some people hated this one. I loved it. Number 1, Children of Zodiarcs. Children of Zodiarcs is an oddball for me on this list. It's easily one of my favorites, even among these top 5, though the only con I could say about it is that it's far too short. I highly doubt we'll ever see it, but if it were to be announced, I would totally pounce on a Zodiarcs 2 in a heartbeat. The reason being, this is kind of like if you played Final Fantasy VII, but the story cut off after your escape from Midgar, which considering the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake, kind of pertinent, I guess. But outside of that, though, the mix of dice crafting, card mechanics, combinations you can pull off, interesting music, and characters really kind of hooked me on this title. While some of the individual scenes fell flat, the overall message and personalities of the characters came through clearly and made the story fairly enjoyable to me, along with the ability to mix and match mechanics, assemble your own dice, upgrade your cards, choose your own deck, and just kind of like go around with it. Kind of got all the little strategy ticks for me as far as just an enjoyable strategy game. I would highly recommend trying this out, or at the very least getting it on sale if you enjoy tactics games or you enjoy kind of deck builders. And that is my top 5 Let's Plays on the channel, the ones that I enjoyed creating the most, that have stuck with me for months, if not years afterwards, and that I really do kind of want to go back to at some point and play again. That's how much I enjoyed each and every one of these. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and it may help you discover some other games on the channel that we have really enjoyed as well. I will be doing more top lists, but more focused down on genres in the future. I just felt this was a good one to kind of start it off and cut my teeth on possibly doing top number lists, maybe as a side bit of content. So, either way, keep gaming, have fun, peace out. This has been Alzorath. Bye.